This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
Welcome to the Kevin Trudeau Show. I'm Kevin Trudeau. It's everything they don't want you to know about that's going to improve the quality of your life and your standard of living. And by the end of the show, you will feel better. You will be enlightened with information that you didn't even know about or even consider even asking questions about. Remember, you don't know what you don't know. Today is a very special show. I have my nameplate, Kevin Trudeau Guru. By the way, look at that picture behind me. This is really amazing. I mean, it really is. I've been talking about, ancestry, and it's kind of weird. I do all the ancestry things, and people from around the world are saying that they're going into palaces and all these ashrams and they're seeing old paintings of people, and they're saying, Kevin, it looks just like you. Do you have any ancestors in this part of the world? And I've done the DNA testing. I think I do. This could be one of my ancestors. So if we take a look at this picture here, again, somebody said they sent this to me out of a palace or an ashram in India, and they said it looks like me, and this could be one of my ancestors. That royal blood, Indian royal blood, could be running through my veins. Somebody thinks that's all real, by the way, when they're in the comments. It is. No, it's real. That really is one of my ancestors, right? Today is going to be a great show. We have a very special guest on today. We will be taking some phone calls. And let me tell you what the show is about, which is why we have Guru. It's about spirituality. It's about enlightenment. It's about inner peace, joy, and happiness. It's about love. Remember, love conquers all. It really is about love. Don't say stop hate. Choose love in life. It's all about love. Love unconditionally, without exception, and without condition. You don't need love. You are love. God dwells within you as you. Every scriptural text around the world says the same thing. The kingdom of God is within. Look within. God dwells within you as you. Okay, why do I have Guru there? Well, actually, a lot of people don't know that. I don't think you guys even know this over there. That I actually went to Guru school. A lot of people don't know. There's actually a university that teaches people how to become gurus, because when I was younger, I thought, what type of career do I want to get in? I think I want to, get into the guru career. So I found this ad when I was real young, and I found a copy of, here's the ad here, and it says, now you can train for the most recession-proof job available today. Become a guru. Welcome to Guru University. It's the online university for wannabe gurus. And that was me, right? So in only 2 short seminars, it says right there, you'll learn how to look and sound wise, speak in spiritual riddles, which is always important if you're a guru, attract followers, charge exorbitant rates. Oh yeah, we can do that. Seduce attractive students. Well, I don't think we do that anymore. That's from in the old days. That was like allowed. But now that's like very taboo. There is no seduction of attractive students. You don't discriminate against unattractive students. You seduce everybody now. Write your book. They teach you how to write your book. Open your website. Make videos for YouTube and a lot more. And the phone number 1-800-BE-A-GURU. So there you have it. Someone's going to think that that's real. That I actually went to the... It's a joke. I hope you're laughing. No, but seriously, we are going to be talking about spirituality. We have a very special guest. And one of the reasons why, I have this particular outfit on today with, anybody know what this is? You know what this is called? It's called? Of course not. These guys couldn't know right there. It's called either an ascot or a cravat. And I came in today with my Monte Cristo fedora hat, and Greg said, oh, you have a cane? I go, no, it's not a cane. It's a walking stick, to go with the outfit. And this was just for you, so you can feel the ambiance of what we're doing here today. But one of the reasons why I wore this is gurus, spiritually enlightened masters, sometimes called saints, sometimes called self-realized people, sometimes called clairvoyants or psychics or mediums. However, clairvoyants, psychics, and mediums are not necessarily enlightened spiritual masters. Just because you're a clairvoyant or a spiritual medium or a psychic, it doesn't mean that you're self-realized. It doesn't mean that you've passed through all the dimensions, you've passed the veil, and you're anchored in the static, the oneness, which is all things. Doesn't mean that, but it does mean you're highly spiritually involved. And on rare occasion, there are spiritually enlightened beings who are also psychics or clairvoyants or mediums. A medium is someone who can actually talk to, quote, the other side and talk to your dead ancestors that haven't reincarnated yet. That's a medium. And then a clairvoyant is somebody who can see. So they can look at you and they can see your field, they can see your memory, they can see your bank. Thus, they're called mind readers because they're actually reading or seeing the pictures in your mind. Clairvoyant. There's clairaudient. They actually hear things. A psychic kind of embodies a whole host of different modalities of what they can do. You know, they say, you know, sees past, present, and future. They can see the past, they can see the present, so they can tell you what your past was and what your current situation is, because they're reading your field. Sometimes it's called an aura reading, but that's really only one small element. Reading an aura is just a minor thing. Reading the bank or the memory or reading the DNA vibration from your ancestors is different. There's a lot of different aspects of reading. And then based on everything, to be able to compress time and tell you what probably is going to happen to you over the upcoming period. And these are very gifted people, and most had that ability from birth. But most of these people do not look like me. They don't have short hair. They don't dress in a suit and tie. They just don't look like this Western style. And that's why I particularly dress this way today. They look something like these people here. They look like this. You know, they're always having their hands folded. A lot of them have the skull caps on or beards. Yogananda, long hair, from India, robes. Sai Baba, crazy hair. A lot of them have crazy hair, by the way, if you notice that. A lot of crazy hair. Robes, a lot of flowers. All the gurus sit on thrones and have a lot of flowers. Or they dress like this. I look like this guy, Sadhguru. And all these people are brilliant, by the way. I'm not saying anything negative at all, only positive things about them. I'm just pointing out that they certainly look different. And most people in the West would not follow this guy. I want to be like him. Swami Muktananda, who I met in 1974, who initiated me with Shaktipat, where everything just vanished into nothingness and I went right into the static. And he actually took me, we were in the back room, and there was no sexual abuse. It was, you know, because back then, you know, it was all these weird things with young boys. But he smacked me on the back of the head. And I don't know if it was the concussion that I got by this smack on the back of the head that made me see stars and actually lose everything. And then his Swami was this guy. Oh, I want to be like him. If I met this guy, I would not say, that is my hero, that's my goal. Here he is again. This is who I want to be like someday. I don't think so. So this, or Swami Satchitananda. He was the one who started the prayer at Woodstock, and was said that his spiritual presence at Woodstock made Woodstock perfect, where there was no violence or killings or murders, and even though it was raining and miserable, it was that blessing that he gave is what made Woodstock what it was. Versus Altamont, where the Rolling Stones were playing over in California, there was murders with the Hell's Angels and things. And then, of course, there's gurus like this, Her Holiness Sai Ma, my very close and dear friend. That's her and I together. But there are modern day gurus that don't look like me. Very few look like me. I think I'm the only one who looks like me. That way nobody thinks guru. But there's another fellow that's one of my closest friends. And I got some old pictures of this fellow, and some of you know him. You've heard me talk about him. The great Gary Spivey. Before we bring Gary out, I want to show you some pictures. So here's the first picture. This is at our house in Ojai, California, where Gary lived. This is Gary Spivey, Kevin McNeely, John Denny. John Denny was my producer. There's me. And then right below Gary, if you look over to the left, that's Hideki Hisamoto. You've heard me talk about him. He was the guy who was stabbing me with acupuncture needles, and I kept on going, ah! And he'd go, oh, very good. Energy leaving you. I go, no, you missed the point. Oh, no. Energy leaving you. Bad energy leaving. And then I didn't realize that he couldn't see. He was virtually blind. And I said, because he's trying to read a book and he's got these Coke bottle glasses. And I said, you can't see. That's why that's why every time you hit me with a needle, I was in pain. Oh, no. Angel, tell me where to put needle. Well, your angels are blind too. And this is us here, Gary Spivey. If you notice, Gary is one of the unique looking fellows. Right next to Gary is John Denny. He has his arm around him. On the other side is Andrew Melcher. You've heard me talk about Andrew Melcher. He's a multimillionaire today. He came on board years ago with me, helped launch the Golf Channel. Here's another picture with some famous people. This is Gary and I at our ranch up in Ojai, California, that Gary and I lived in. Actually, Gary lived in it. It was my place, and I'll tell you that story in a moment. But here's this picture here. And this picture, you'll see Gary Spivey with Mini-Me. That was Mini Gary at this party. And right there is Melanie. Melanie sings, "What Have They Done to My Song, Ma?" And I've got a brand new key. And she sang at Woodstock. She was a very close friend. And as you know, if you've been following me, she passed away recently. But we had this big, huge party. And right next to me is the second richest man in Australia, Renee Rifkin, who's my business partner. Then we get the next picture here. This is on Renee's yacht. He had the largest yacht in Sydney Harbor. And that's, of course, Gary. I brought Gary down there. I said, Gary, come on down. And then the guy over to the left, I can't mention his name, but all I can say is he's one of the biggest movers and shakers in the world. Major. That's, I can't say anything more. I just talked to him. He just called me yesterday. I talk to him all the time, good close friend. Here's another picture of us. This is someplace. I think it was at either my house or Gary's house. I think this is Gary's house in California. And sitting next to me on my right, at my girlfriend at the time, was Christy Marie. And she's one of the greatest psychics today and energy workers. She was trained by Gary and myself. And she's just absolutely amazing. And there's a whole bunch of amazing people there too. And here's another picture of us. I'm pretty sure this is at my house in California. And again, there's me and Christy Marie, Gary. And then this fellow here, Burl Triggs, one of the greatest designers in Hollywood. He did all the set design for the movie Cleopatra with Liz Taylor. And then, this is just recently, this is over Christmas. This is me and Gary Spivey. I was at Gary's house in North Carolina just recently at Christmas time. And again, Gary is the epitome of a self-enlightened person because he dresses the part, right? Because as I showed you all the pictures, unlike me, you have to look like unique. But Gary has special abilities. And here's one picture, for example, of Gary. This is not doctored. It is not altered. The photo experts have looked and said there's nothing unique about it. It's picking up what it sees. And you can see the aura around Gary. He was having a spiritual retreat, and he had to crank it up, as they say. And when he cranks it up, his energy goes. And you've heard me talk about this. Photons emit. And then somebody sent me this picture, which was a beautiful painting of Her Holiness Saima, Gary, and myself. And notice we're all kind of dressed a little differently. We got the Indian, we got the Western guy with the hat, and then we have Gary, who is one of a kind and doesn't go into any category. It's the Gary Spivey category. There's only one category, and it's Gary Spivey. So I'll just tell you one quick story, and then we're going to bring Gary on. Gary, as you know, is completely attuned. We've been friends for decades. He was living in St. Petersburg, Florida at the time. I had a condo down there, and I had just bought a home in a big, huge ranch, 475-acre ranch, big, huge mansion. I think it was 20,000 square feet. Had like a 3,000 square foot guest house on the property. Had a big, huge 5,000 square foot barn that was converted into an office and more sleeping rooms. And I think there was 12 or 13 or 15 bedrooms. I don't know, 30 people could stay at the house. And when I bought the house, I bought it sight unseen. I was actually driving down with my realtor. I drove by this beautiful ranch and I said, drive down this driveway. It was a dirt driveway. We drove down the driveway through the walnut groves, the avocados, the oranges. We went up to the side of the mountain around this big circular driveway with this big, gorgeous, amazing fountain in the middle of the circular driveway with this big, enormous mansion. I never got out of the car. We drove back to the main road and I said, buy that. He said, it's not for sale. I said, it doesn't matter. Everything's for sale at the right price, so buy it anyway. So he called the people around 6 weeks later. I bought it, I paid for it, and I ridiculously overpaid, according to my realtor, which turned out later that was not true because I actually sold it to the producer of the movie What About Mary? Something About Mary, a Hollywood producer, and I made a lot of money on it. So I didn't overpay. But at the time, it looked like I overpaid. So I bought the house. I had never seen the house. And I was excited to live in Ojai and so forth. So I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm actually over Gary's house when I get the news that we closed. I now own the house. I said, terrific. So Gary's right there. And I says, hey, Gary, I'm gonna fire up the jet. Had a private jet at the time. I'm gonna fire at the jet. I'm gonna go over from Florida. We're gonna fly cross country, get dropped off at Oxnard, California, get picked up by the realtor, and I'm gonna go see my new house. Do you wanna come with me? And Gary said, no, I can't come with you. I got readings all day. I got appointments. I got things, business happening. I got a full schedule. He goes, but hold on, let me check with my angels. My angels say I should go. I said, well, pack, hurry up. I'm leaving this afternoon. So we get on the jet. Of course, Gary has his psychic cocktail, espresso coffee, and Tanqueray gin. And we like chicken wings, so we had a lot of chicken wings. So we ate chicken wings. We got organic, all fantastic chicken wings with Tanqueray gin and espresso. And, we're buzzing and having a good time. So we go, get dropped off. My plane drops us off. The realtor picks us up. We go to the ranch. My realtor is really nervous, and I don't understand why. We get to the ranch. I realize that this house was kind of put together over a few decades with add-ons, and most of the work was done by the owner. So he had like a beer bottle that he would cut and use the beer bottle glass for the stained glass of the window. And this was not the highest quality house. And as I'm looking around, I'm thinking, I can't live here. This is a tear down. This is going to be way too much work to really get up to speed. I don't particularly like it. It kind of has a little smell to it. The carpet's got to be changed. I think this is a tear down. So I say, look, this is just a tear down. I can't live here. And Gary, having the psychic vision that he has, but more than that, the creative ability that he has that I don't have, he sees things in properties that I just don't see, right? I mean, that's his love, antiques and properties and fluffing things up. So he says, no, Kevin, this isn't a tear down. You could put shears up here. You could put throw pillows over there. We could put this and that. We have parties here. And he's like going on and on. I'm going, Gary, do you want to live here? And he said, let me ask my angels. They say yes. I go, good, here are the keys. It's yours. I gave him the house. And he looked at me, really? I goes, it's yours. That's the only set of keys. I goes, it's yours. You turn it into a palace. This will be our party house. When guests come in to see me, they'll stay here. And we worked out an arrangement. I said, but this is your house now. And I looked at my realtor, I said, find me someplace to live, which he did, and Gary turned this place into a palace. We had a big party there with like 1,000 people, half of Hollywood came. 6-8 months later, the parties that he put on, Melanie came to sing, he had drummers from Africa come in to perform, Casey and the Sunshine Band, I think, was there, he had sushi chefs making sushi, all these other world-class chefs cooking up food for a whole weekend. It was a weekend party. Had helicopter rides. He said get horses, made them look like unicorns to give rides around the property. It was like unbelievable. And again, half of Hollywood came. I mean, all the celebrities, it was just unbelievable. Well, about 6 or 9 months later, I'm down in Beverly Hills, California. And I'm at the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel. I'm having breakfast. And I bump into this girl, and we start talking. And she's by herself, I'm by herself. I said, you want to share breakfast? She said, great. So I moved to her table, and we started talking. And she goes, where do you live? And I said, I live in Ojai, California. She goes, oh, that's interesting. I went to this unbelievable party there almost a year ago. It was the greatest thing I've ever been to in my life. And I said, yeah, that's kind of my place and my buddy Gary's. You mean you know the psychic? I go, yeah, that's kind of our place. That's kind of my place, his place, our place. Oh my God. I mean, people were still buzzing about it a year later. So it was pretty spectacular, and it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with Gary Spivey, because he is a unique person, a spiritually in tune person. And when anybody who's ever met him, he just exudes love, just pure love. But he isn't necessarily loving. And there's a difference between loving and love. Because if you're just in love, then true love means sometimes you have to be a little bit direct and a little bit firm. And Gary doesn't pull punches, but he does it purely out of love. And he knows that if he doesn't sometimes be harsh, we call this in Guru University, by the way, we were taught that this is called the fire of the guru. Because out of love, sometimes they have to smack you in the back of the head, which is what Muktananda physically did to me, smacked me in the back of the head to awaken me. So Gary, although he is gifted and special, as he will say, and the same thing I say, I do one-on-ones and I do all the stuff that I do, or people are at a dinner and they walk out and they go, why do I feel like I'm drunk and I didn't have anything to drink? Because they're in the presence of photon-producing generators. Gary Spivey, myself, Her Holiness Saima, and it's transformational. It really is transformational. So let's go to the one and only Gary Spivey. And here he is.
How are you? How are you? I'm so glad to see you. And I love oh my God, your show is amazing. Look at this set. I mean, you look like you're doing a show from 2 White Houses. So this is great. I even went and I put on a jacket. I was looking a little shabby in the beginning. So I thought I'm going to dress up. What up? Oh, thank you for the compliments. I mean, you're overwhelmingly complimentary, and I really, really appreciate it. But I have to say, I didn't think anything was special, except we were just having the time of our life. We were having so much fun, always helping people. Always. You are like so generous and so kind. I got into an argument with somebody the other day, I think maybe Ruben, and I was trying to explain the difference in being kind and being nice. And you're very kind. You're nice, but you're very kind. And there's a difference. Kindness is a heartfelt thing, and everybody feels it. If you're in the presence of a guru, of a kind person that's spiritually gifted, and it matters. And it does rub off. It rubs off, and people feel it. They feel this beautiful light. They feel this beautiful energy, as they do with you. I hear nothing but compliments and amazing things that you're doing. And I just hear all this great stuff about you. I'm so close. It's so close in and to you, the whole Gen Network, and just love everybody. How do you end up with an audience like you have? But you have this beautiful audience of people that get it. I mean, it's so hard these days. And you guys who get it understand what it means to say, you get it. But the Gen audience really does get it. And so I just, hats off to you for getting them to get it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Glad to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you, too. And I'm going to be coming down to seeing you very soon, as we just talked the other day on the phone about that.
Good. We always have fun.
Energy. Let's talk about energy.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that do energy workers. People have heard of Reiki, where people lay hands on. There's Dishka, where they lay hands on the head. There's energy workers, you've heard. There's chi energy. How would you describe energy?
Well, I first of all, I'm very lucky because I'm clair everything. I'm clairvoyant. I see psychically, clairaudient. I hear psychically. I'm clairsentient. I sense everything. So I'm clair everything. I'm a total empath. I feel everything going on. I can see dimensionally, which is a big deal. Energy is something as real as, say, the crystals around me sitting in the room. Energy is a real thing, and it really exists in all these different dimensions. And some people, some of us, I know in your case, Kevin, certainly, in my case, I can see energy. I see it. It's real. It's right there. And so many times I'll look at people and they'll have certain blocks on them. You're an expert at this, with your I don't know the terminology, the money thing where I've heard so much great stuff, feedback about the courses with getting rid of people's money blocks. And they tell me these stories because they'll book a private reading with me, or come to a retreat or something, and they'll tell me, "Oh my God, I couldn't make money to save my life until I got this from Kevin. He got rid of my blocks, and now I'm making money, hand over fist." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, that's the way it works." People have all these blocks. They can't see them. They're not aware of them, but they're as real could be. And if you have the gift to see them and get rid of them, as you do, as I do, it really just changes people's lives, and you change their life in a second. It's so crazy to see this outcome. And so that's the best way to explain it. We have the gifts, and you can get rid of it, and there's an outcome, a good one.
When you read people, when people book a private reading for you, for example, which is different than when they come to one of your spiritual retreats. We'll talk about that in a moment. But when people book a private reading, you're doing we'll call it the standard palm reader psychic thing where you tell them past, present, and future, right?
Basically, yeah, because that's what they're interested in, except I do fix their energy too.
Exactly. So the next thing you do, then you correct or transmute or clear or whatever word a person wants to use their energy so that their trajectory going forward is better.
Totally different.
And they feel better now, correct?
Right. Totally different. Totally different.
Okay. There's a lot of people, like I do this, Her Holiness Sai Ma, Sai Baba, who you obviously are very attuned with. You have the similar hair as Sai Baba.
Right. Yeah, his is black, mine's white. They were like negatives.
But again, I know these things are ineffable. They cannot be really described in words. And if you and I are looking at the same thing, we'll describe it sometimes radically differently, but we're describing the same thing just from a different perspective. How would you say you actually read somebody's energy and then change it or fix it or clear it or transmute it?
Well, when I look at people, I see, I see auras around them. Many times I will see dark energies. Sometimes I'll see demons. Demons exist. And I have the spiritual gifts to get rid of the dark energy or the demon, if I see a demon. And then I see angels around them. Sometimes it can't get close in because of all the dark energies that have to do with old traumas. I'll get rid of the old traumas, tell the person about it. I'll say, you had this happen when you were, 17 years old. And they'll go, "Oh my God, I did, and I'll get rid of it. And then they change, and they change forever, because the angels then can move around them, come close into them, and make their life just work out. And so it's pretty simple. It works like that.
When a person goes to a spiritual retreat, it's a very small, intimate group. It's actually at your house.
Yeah.
What happens there?
I just run very fast forward, paying no attention if somebody gets it, if they don't, because they will get it after a little bit, because they start seeing the transformation among a lot of other people. And then they realize, oh my God, that is me. Oh, wow, that did happen. Oh, wow, I do feel different. I feel tingle. I feel hot. I feel whatever. And even when I'm working in a spiritual retreat setting, when I clear someone's energy, they then will glow. And so people in the room or if I'm outside, wherever I am, they'll be able to look at the person and they'll see all these lights around the person, or certainly around me all the time. And so I even sent you some pictures of me glowing and people glowing, and there we are. See, this young man, he's a rock star. The guy that's got all the fog around his head there, and so he plays very serious music from. He's in Vegas, and he had this spiritual experience where these ancients came to him, and his higher selves showed up. There's even one where you'll see his physical body above his body. And there's Alex. And he's Regent now, but you can see his arm. See this? You see this guy's arm is in the second dimension, which is his higher self. So that's his arm. However, there's no tattoos on that arm in his second dimension, which is pretty wild. And so people can see their angels, they can see their higher selves. I teach them how to see that, and other people can see it. So it becomes very real. All these dimensions, once you get to where you can see them, and even the camera picked up on a bunch of stuff there. And that was just this past weekend. And so as you see the pictures of it, and as you get to where you can see it, it becomes very tangible and very real. And then a person then will believe with total belief instead of half belief. If you have a little bit of belief messes people up. You're a rock star, Kevin, at getting people to understand stuff and believe. Like, what's the downside to believing? And so when people have faith, and believe, it really matters because their magic kicks in, and you're very good at teaching people how to understand that. So how you do it, hats off to you, because it sure works.
Well, there was a great book written that I highly endorse and recommend, The Magic of Believing. And
okay.
It was very interesting. That book was written in the 60s, and many, matter of fact, I think it was written in the 40s or 50s. And one of the first celebrities who said it was that book that made him wealthy, one of your favorite people, Liberace.
Oh, wow. Makes sense. And so I was very close with Liberace's best friend, Eloise Gallagher. And Eloise was my friend. She had an old Rolls Royce. She lived in St. Pete, where I did in Florida. And I wanted to meet Liberace. I mean, I really did. And so back in the day, I owned part of a piano company, and I sold Eloise. I said, she wanted to paint a certain piano. Anyway, I found her a very cheap Steinway grand piano. I sold it to her, and I said, but you got to let me meet your friend Liberace. So anyway, as she went to do that, unfortunately, and she had me all lined up to go to Radio City Music Hall with him when he opened in New York. And I mean, all these great things. And unfortunately, he passed away before I got the shot to do it. And so, but then she bought me one of his tuxedos. And so I have this great tuxedo that was Liberace's.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyway, but he's come to me before, because I would wear this tuxedo, and it was a very showy one, and he would come to me and talk to me. But he had the ability to do instant manifestation. He could manifest things, and he also had the beautiful ability to make people happy.
He was one of the first people in his TV show in the 50s. Back then, they had a live studio audience. The show was shot live on TV, and the performers would look at the studio audience and perform. And Liberace was the first person, as he was playing, unbeknownst to the producers, he was looking at the audience, and then he did this. And he looked at everybody at home, and the producers went crazy. It's like, don't look in the camera. And later he said, there are more people watching at home than are here in the studio audience, and that's who I'm going to talk to. And that started the whole aspect of actually looking at the camera and looking at the people at home.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I did get to see him live one time, and he had the ability. He would take an audience and put them in the palm of his hand, and they would never leave until he decided. Mm-hmm. He had them. I mean, he was that good. He was really that good.
Your spiritual abilities to see energy, read people, change and move somebody's energy. Is that something that you developed, or is that something you were born with?
Oh, in my case, I was born with it. I grew up in a little country town in North Carolina. You've been here many times, and I went back there. That's where I lived. Even though, when I decided to move back to North Carolina, some of the people around me, like Dean or whatever, got upset with me because they're like, "Do you realize your zip code is 90210?" You live in Beverly Hills, and you're not only the guy who says he's psychic to the stars, you really are. You're invited to every party. And why would you want to move back to North Carolina? Well, anyway, I just had things to do, and I went back and I worked on it. I'm redoing my little hometown here in North Carolina. So, but anyway, it just has I don't know.
But so this is an ability you were born with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I could just do stuff. I could see stuff, and I would tell my family, and they'd freak out because it would happen.
People always ask this question. You're gifted. You were born with this.
Right.
Can I, who am not gifted, I was not born with this ability, can the average person says, can I learn how to do what you do?
1,000% yes. Absolutely.
Even to the level that you're at now?
Even to the level I'm at, I would say now. Yeah.
But that would take a lot of time and commitment of training, right? Like Christy.
Yeah.
When you and I work with Christy, because she didn't have that ability initially.
Yeah, but become a rock star at it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's amazing. And so, but yes is the answer. Yes, you can do that. I really didn't quite understand how to help train someone to do it in the beginning, because I could just always do it. You, on the other hand, I think had a real good sense of what they were missing and the components that needed to be incorporated into their personality, into their training, to get them to really become amazing people. Not only amazing people as people, but amazing spiritual people that's very happy and that really do understand what their heaven on earth is about, and they go out and they create their heaven on earth. I mean, I see you do it all the time. You teach people how to have their heaven on earth. You're basically taking people to heaven. They didn't die. And so you're showing people how to make enough money to have a heaven. You're showing people how to have relationships in oneness with people and have a heaven. And those are the things that I've aspired to do. And I have to say, with me and you being buddies for 100 years, you ask me the best questions of anybody in the world. You are the best interviewer, but you're also the best friend that asks great questions to rattle the right answers out. And so I learned more about spirituality because of the questions you asked me. I was gifted enough to go there, be there, see all this. However, I didn't have all the questions, but you certainly did. And so I remember, many, many times, hours of sessions with you. We're not doing sessions. We were just in a session of talking and being buddies, maybe having dinner or cooking or barbecuing or something. But you would ask me questions, and they were brilliant questions. And I learned more about spirituality from the questions that you asked me than any other one source ever in my life. Well, so that's big.
I appreciate that, but Gary's being incredibly modest, because I'll sit down and I ask him questions such as, what do you see? How are you looking? What are you doing? Because I'm picking his brain and I'm looking at what he's doing and I'm trying to get him to articulate what he's doing. Because sometimes, there's a professional golfer hitting the golf ball perfect, and you ask them, what did you just do? And they go, I really don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I drill Gary so that he can tell me what he's doing when he doesn't even know what he's doing half the time. He's just doing it.
Right. Yeah. But you really do get the answer. And then I know the answer too. And so it's been a great relationship that way for sure.
I got one quick story to tell, and then we're going to go to the phone lines. So if we have the phone number up there, if you want to get it to the queue, we're not going to get everybody's call, obviously, to talk to Gary. Gary will give you a quick little mini reading here and do some energy with you. But one quick story, Gary. You know about this story. So Gary's in Chicago. At that particular time, I was all over TV as the memory guy. I remembered everything with the Mega Memory course. So I was the memory guy. When I walked around into any restaurant, people said, "Oh, the memory guy. Oh, the memory guy with the perfect memory." And Gary, of course, is the world-famous psychic. He was known everywhere. He was on every radio show. He was here in Chicago on the Danny Bonaducci show and all these shows. And so everybody knows his as the great seer, the great psychic. I had a brand new Rolls Royce, and it was.
Oh yeah, I remember this
right,
thing. It was canary yellow. This thing was yellow Rolls Royce. Amazing car.
Yeah, it was this. It was well, actually, I always kidded. It was magnolia. That was the color, magnolia.
Oh, okay.
But it was yellow. It's a yellow Rolls Royce. But according to the Rolls Royce people, it was magnolia. So I had this magnolia canary yellow Rolls Royce, which stood out like a sore thumb, as a Rolls Royce would. So Gary and I decided to go to Little Italy, to this Italian restaurant. We have this amazing dinner, and there's no GPSs back then. There's no cell phones back then. So and we had a few drinks, but you know, 1 or 2 cocktails at dinner with a full meal, it's okay to drive. Certainly nowhere even close to being, you know, anywhere close to considering getting a taxi home. We get in the car, and I tell Gary, I know the way home. Well, Little Italy is kind of toward the south of Chicago, and the hood, the real bad places where there's, you know, 2-3 dozen killings every night, it's just like the south side of Chicago. So we're kind of close there. So I'm taking a left, I'm taking a right, I'm lost. And I said, I can't remember, I'm the memory guy. Gary, I can't remember how to get back to the highway. And he goes, well, I don't know how to get back to the highway. I go, well, what? Look, see, you're the psychic. Tell me which way to go. All of a sudden, there's a police cruiser behind us, lights, you know, and remember the sirens? Woo! Yeah. Pull us over to the side of the road. The police guy, 2 cops get out. They look in, they see Gary Spivey. They look at me, and the guy's like, wait a minute, aren't you the psychic? Yeah. He looks, aren't you the memory guy? Yeah. What are you guys doing here? I go, I'm lost. I can't remember the way to get home. And the cop goes, you can't remember? You're the memory guy. And then he looks at me and goes, and can't you psychically see how to get home? What's wrong with you? You are in the hood, the worst part of Chicago. I'm surprised you're still alive. He goes, let me escort you out of here and get you back to the highway and get your ass home. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, and he was like, he thought this, and he called his buddy over, and I mean, he really got a kick out of it. You know, here's the memory expert. He can't remember how to get out of here, and he was like, somebody's going to take this Rolls Royce away from you and drive you over with it. We're like, this is not a good idea. Let me save your life.
Yeah.
He said, follow me, and so he let us out of there. So it was like, really, anyway.
Yeah, it was great. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines so Gary can do a little of his magic with some of you. Let's go to the phone lines, William. Okay, you are live on the air with Gary Spivey. What's your name and where you're from? Hi there.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name and where are you from?
Oh, hi, my name is Tara. I'm from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I had a lot of friends down there who grew up in Boston.
Yes, I recall. I've been following you, Kevin, for quite a while. I didn't expect Gary here, so I'm a little, just a little nervous because I kind of had a question in mind, and then Gary showed up. So, but.
Gary, you got it. Go ahead. Hold on. I can see him. He's energizing.
Yeah, if you notice, you'll see me. I hold my hands up and I wiggle my fingers, and I'm actually tapping into you. And as I do, oh my God, you're a beautiful person. You have a great heart. You're a person that does everything for everybody. That's you, right?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of bit. And so I'm just clearing you off. But when I tap into you, what's your question? What do you want to know?
Originally my question was, geared towards Kevin the Guru here. In terms of, it's got kind of a lot to it, a lot of oomph. But like, how come, or can we speak to, the face of mankind being a man? And you recommend a lot of speakers, motivators, authors, yourself, and they're often men. And yes, you do include women, and I really enjoy that. or enjoy all of it. I don't necessarily internalize, the difference. It's just, I'm learning as well, like how powerful, impactful, our brains work with visuals, like in picture form. So like, my experience here is it's going to reflect back a lot of images of men. Men sort of are the face of a lot of how we're represented here, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I embrace the yin, the yang, the female, male energies,
and so yeah. Tell me your question, and so if you can put it in a question form, I can answer it. And so, but I think,
so like,
but here's what I'm thinking. I really see so many times women are way more powerful than men. I mean, I read a lot of women. I read a lot of powerful women. I read the author Danielle Steele for the last 30 years. Kevin knows her. And so, but I mean, but I read a lot of powerful women, and I see women that have so much power. And many times they have a quiet power where men have a sort of a loud, kind of noisy power. But as I look at you, I think you have a tremendous amount of power. And I mentioned, Daniel Steele, the author, but I see you writing. Do you write yet? Are you writing? You got the gift of writing. And if you try it, you'll find you're pretty amazing at it. Does that make any sense to you?
I'm not writing is like torment. It's like pulling teeth.
It was for me too. I'm surprised I didn't osmosis Danielle. I've read her so much. And when I went to write a book, I had a hard time doing it. But then I finally got it and pushed through, and now I can write really easily. It's very easy for me to write. I think you have the gift of writing, and I think if you push ahead with that, you're going to find you're quite amazing, and you come up with stuff where you help a lot of people with your writing. So that would be my prediction off the cuff, is what I see that you can do, and that would really empower you, because then a lot of your thoughts you would actually be able to organize and put on paper in a book form, and you would be amazing. You'd be amazing. I remember the first book that Kevin, I don't know if I think it's the first one he wrote. And so I told him he should do this thing and explain all the stuff he knows about all how to keep people healthy. I said, this is what you really need to do. And I remember you were like, I don't know. I remember that.
That's right. Yeah. I never wrote a book.
And then you sold 50 million copies. It seemed like a good idea. You totally broke the publishing industry, because you self-published. You were the first guy that ever self-published that it worked.
Yeah, a book that sold that many copies. Let me address this, Gary, and then you can give the last comment on it. And this applies to anybody who's watching. The question that really came up here is, Kevin, the people that you suggest and recommend are white men. Oh, sure, you recommend Les Brown, he's African American or black. Yeah, you suggested some women like Earlene Vining or Her Holiness Saima, but it's always men. And then you say, oh, but I don't really, that doesn't bother me because sure it does. The reason you're even bringing it up is something's keying in your field. If you were colorblind and gender neutral, you wouldn't even notice that they were men. You wouldn't notice the color of their skin. You would notice their age. Why do you always have old people that you recommend? Because I'm old, and the people that I know are also old. Why is it white men? Because I grew up in a town where that's where they were. And in the circles back in the 60s and the 70s, that's who I associated with. So those are the people that I have the longest relationships with. I didn't grow up in neighborhoods where there were Asians or Indians so my friends are Greek and Italian and Jewish or Irish. Those are the people I associated with. If I talk to Les Brown and he's introducing to me to many of the people that he knows and recommends, they're black because that's who he grew up with and that's who he associated with. Those were the circles he went around. When I'm talking to somebody who's Jewish, most of the people they suggest and recommend happen to be Jewish. But guess what? When I was in Bahrain in the Middle East, the royal families that I was talking to, guess who they suggested and recommended? They were Arab men. because in that culture there was no women. It's a male-dominated culture. So the point is, it's irrelevant. Forget skin color, forget religion, forget age, forget gender. The fact that it's even bothering you, that's the real issue. Not that, why am I suggesting Zig Ziglar or Brian Tracy or Gary Spivey, who happen to be men. The real question is, why does it bother you? That's an engram and a samskara you need to clear out of your field. Something is keying in from the past. And if you let it go, if it goes, you will be free. Gary?
Yeah, and she'll also be a famous writer if she does.
It's holding her back, isn't it? This particular engram.
It's totally holding her back.
The three things that she said that she was being held back is because of this.
Right. You're right. And she'll get hung up, and then you'll waste your time on the problem that you think is there, that is not even there. It's not even real. And so if she were to take your advice, not see color, not see gender, and just move ahead, as well as all the other stuff, that's the best news. And you're going to find you're going to learn a lot. I've learned a lot from a lot of people that are all over the place.
Let's double team her here with energy right now. Let's both zap her at the same time and see if we can blow this out and move it. There we go.
Okay, there we go. I just cleared it off of her, and when I did, I saw her head go really bright, and even some of you guys are empaths. You'll notice your feet got warm right then. The reason your feet got warm, and if you notice, Kevin started to sweat just a little bit, and so did I. And so that's because the amount of see that? You can see it with Kevin's face. The spiritual light went through him and made his physical body light up and be a little warmer. So is mine. And you'll feel that same energy. See, so to be around somebody when they clear the energy off of a person, like we clear the energy off of her, you got your energy cleared too. So you're just piggybacking, that's what I call it, and you're going to feel a lot better.
And I'm glad you said that, Gary, because the people here just don't think I'm telling the truth when I say you need to crank the air conditioning up more. And I come in and they go, it's a refrigerator. You can hang meat in this room. I go, but you guys don't understand. My body temperature when I do the show, because I crank up the energy, gets so hot, right? Because and that's what you just said it. Thank God. See, I have now verification from a secondary source of what put that into Kevin Was Right file.
Yeah, everybody that works around me, I mean, they're wearing one of my fur coats out of the closet.
Exactly, I know, yeah.
Yeah, and so they're like trying to stay warm through the show, and I have extra air conditioners in the house just to keep me cool.
William, let's get a caller who has a question for Gary. All right, you are live on the air with Gary Spivey and Kevin Trudeau. What's your name and where are you from?
Mercy from Florida.
Good. What's your question for Gary?
You're beautiful.
Actually, if you can clear any blocks that I might have, and I'm nervous.
Well, I think you're absolutely beautiful.
Well, you should be nervous. You're live on the air. There's hundreds of millions of people listening to you right now.
No, be afraid. Be afraid. There we are. I just, here, when I look
You're
at
talking to Gary Spivey. Of course you're going to be nervous. He's famous.
I'm clearing your energy off. I'm clearing the dark energy off of you. I'm clearing the dark energy off of you. And notice how your whole body got warm right then. See? See, your feet are warm, your hands are really warm, see? And so that's because I pulled the darkness off. There was a whole layer of darkness, and I just yanked that off. And now I see all these angels moving in close to you because they can. See, they couldn't get to you before because you had a few layers of dark energies around you, especially a mother, grandmother, older lady energy was a little negative for you. And so there, I just cleared all that off. Look how you feel now.
Oh, I feel great.
Okay.
I feel wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And I don't know if I can ask the other one. Will I ever find a soulmate? I mean, I listen to you every week.
Okay. Well, you will find a soulmate, and you've already found one that's around that cares about you. Does that make any sense to you?
No.
Okay. Well, I see somebody
not that's around.
Well, I see somebody that I see a trip a little bit of a trip where you see them, and it hooks back up. So you got some stuff coming along. And when I said that, notice how your hands got hot. Both hands got hot. Feel that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Well, that means I told you the truth. See, when a spiritual person says something to you and it resonates truth, your hands will get really super hot. And see, that's what happened to you right there. So that's a sign. So I see a trip. I see you being with somebody. I see you it hooking up, and I see you laughing a lot. So this person's funny. They make you happy. So that's what I feel. Good luck for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and bless both of you.
Blessings to you. Thanks for calling.
Thanks. Bye.
William, let's go back to the callers that are in the queue. Do we have another caller with a question for Gary? You are live on the air with Kevin Trudeau and Gary Spivey. What's your name and where are you from?
Carla Cooper, Chicago.
Oh, right here in Chicago. All right. So you're on with Gary. What's your question for Gary?
First, just a quickie. You guys were heading towards Inglewood, bad neighborhood. My question for Gary is, and he does know me, is I would like it if he could clear my energy and any financial blocks. I'm really struggling right now with simple things. So if he knows me, if he could clear whatever I need to be cleared.
Yeah, I recognize your voice now. And so I'm just clearing this off. What I see is I see negative projections from two people, and it's making you crazy. And I'm clearing that away from you. And that's nothing I know. Like, I'm not aware of who the two are, other than now I just can see them. These days, you have to be very careful of letting other people, I call it, get your goat, so to speak. And you manage to let them get all your goats. And that's because it bothers you. And so I just cleared the energy off from that. And now I see a lot of light, and I see a golden road show up under your feet. And that means that this was blocking your golden road, your golden path. I see a golden brick road under your feet. Feel how your feet are warming up now, tingly? You can feel that. You feel that?
Yes.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, you're gonna be fine. Don't let other people get your goat. Don't let other people get your energy either, because they'll take your magic. And so I just fixed it. You're gonna be fine. You look good now. Don't let, especially the two people you're upset with, let that go.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thanks very much for calling. Gary, I got a trivia question for you. One of my favorite trivia questions to say at parties. Where does the phrase, "don't let that get your goat," come from?
I'm one of the very few people who knows the answer.
Oh my God. Okay, so tell everybody.
Okay, so this is, and I think I might have got it from you.
You probably got it from. I probably told it to you because I'm sure I brought this trivia question up at a party 100 times.
Yeah, I think you told it to me, but what it amounts to, we know each other too well. The racehorses, the famous racehorses, would have a companion goat. And the companion goat would keep them calm because they're all neurotic and crazy and inbred. And so sometimes people would go in and steal their goat, and then they would run a bad race or something. Does that make sense?
One of the opposing horse owners would send somebody to steal the goat, and that would make the horse agitated. So if you're agitated and all kind of crazy, somebody got your goat. That's where it came from.
That was it. You told me the answer, and I remembered it. Look at that.
I'm sure that I did, exactly, because nobody knows that.
You thought I was drunk. I wasn't drunk. See? Look at that.
Nobody knows that. All right, Gary, if people want to get a private one-on-one reading with you, how do they get a hold of you?
It's really easy. You just simply call my office, 800-827-GARY, or 800-827-4279, or you can log on to GarySpivey.com. GarySpivey.com has everything up there, podcasts, things going on, spiritual retreats, whatever. GarySpivey.com.
Good. So if anybody is looking to get a private reading with Gary, he is difficult to book. Obviously, he books far in advance, but and I've told Gary this 100 times, that he doesn't charge enough. He really doesn't. He doesn't listen to me, but he doesn't charge enough for what he is, who he is, and what he does. It really is powerful, magical. the things that Gary can do are unique. But at the end of the day, I was with Muktananda, the Swami, who was self-realized, and I could see the energy from birth, and I went through the Brotherhood training, which is why I know how to train people, because I was trained, so I kind of learned a systematic formula. But Muktananda yourself, this is an ability that is just like a God-given gift on this particular incarnation. I can imagine all the work you did in other lives, right? So that when you came
I'm
here,
just now realizing that.
Yeah.
You know, I have, and so I'm like, I have angels that show up and they go, well, here's who you were and here's what you did, you know, and I'm remembering some of these previous lives that were really like that. And so,
yeah, all the spiritual work that you did to get here and to have these abilities released. But what Muktananda said, and you and I talked about this, when we look at all different people, are we the infinite consciousness incarnate? Are we God incarnate? Is a guru God incarnate? Do you worship that person? And I remember Muktananda because I asked him, and he said, God dwells within everyone. God dwells within you as you.
yeah.
The guru is within you. It's not me. I just happen to be a focal point. But what he said through his interpreter, Guru Mai, because he didn't speak English, was, I'm awake. You're asleep.
Yeah.
And that's when he took his hand. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. He took his hand, and I could move energy. I could see stuff, but I still hadn't passed the veil, right? He took his hand and he smacked me on the back of my head. And I mean, I saw stars. And again, I'm still not convinced it's not because of the concussion that I got from the whack in the back of the head, or because of the shock pot. I did feel the energy come up the spine, the Kundalini energy, and he vanished in front of me. Everything blended into one, and he became me, and I became him, and it was that thing. And the awakening occurred. Would you say that most people, and they come to your spiritual retreat, you do one-on-ones with them, personal readings, that most people are asleep?
I would say most people are, and then a few people are not. But it's my job to wake them up. And I do wake them up. I had one of yours here, Alex, who was here and is still here. Is he here? Oh, he just left. Oh, okay. Alex Sanchez. And he couldn't see spiritually. He couldn't see psychically. And I got rid of some blocks he had, and he instantly could see everything I could see. He was totally blown away with it. You know?
Fantastic. So for anybody who's out there who you're on different paths, you want a path to better health, you want a path to better relationships, you have goals and dreams for manifesting material things, money and so forth, and some of you have a spiritual inclination. Most people don't want to jump on a spiritual path and give up all worldly stuff to follow a spiritual path.
You don't have to.
You don't have to, right?
Yeah, no, God likes you to be all gimped up. I mean, he loves the fact that I like fancy things. And I mean, he loves that, you know?
Okay, so I gotta make sure I get this cleared. Hold on one second here. So in other words, you don't have to walk around like this to be spiritually enlightened.
No. I think that would be scary for people to see me like that.
Yeah. No, and the reason I put this is Baba Nityananda, a spiritually enlightened, perfected master who basically could just touch you and your whole life would change.
Yeah.
And he gave up all material things in this world. Not only was he anchored in the oneness or the static above the veil, he lived there, which means he wasn't living on planet Earth. So that's why he forgot to bathe. You know, so you don't have to do that. You can embrace materialism as long as you're not attached to materialism.
Exactly.
If you think you can have stuff, that means you're attached to it. No, you can experience stuff.
Yeah.
Don't have stuff, folks. Experience things. Because if you're experiencing, that means you can experience everything, but without being attached to it. And that's when you're liberated and free.
Yeah, beautifully said.
Gary, you are the best.
Yeah.
We have a time limit here on the show. People, I know they want you here for another 2 or 3 hours. We will have you back on future episodes, of course.
Okay, great.
I'll be on your podcast as well. If you want a reading, again, let's put up Gary's website. If anybody wants a personal reading with Gary, one-on-one, you can book it. Just go to GarySpivey.com. He also has some spiritual retreats that you might resonate with you. And, you know, Gary has a particular energy. And if it resonates, then go with Gary and embrace what he has. He's a close, dear, wonderful friend, a very special, gifted person. And he is the embodiment of unconditional love without exception. Gary, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you. I love being your guest, and I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
I love you too. We'll talk soon, my friend.
All right.
I'm Kevin Trudeau, everybody. Thank you for watching. Remember, we broadcast every Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock Chicago time. We broadcast on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Rumble. We have a lot more videos on the Kevin Trudeau Show Rumble channel than any of the other platforms because Rumble doesn't censor. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like this show. We need lots of likes to get the algorithm up so we can get more subscribers and more viewers. Share this on all of your social media platforms, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, and your X. Share the channel. Share the show. Leave comments. Comment on other people's comments. This helps the algorithm. And if you're not signed up on all of those platforms, please do. Even if you choose to watch it on YouTube or your platform of choice is Rumble or Spotify, go to the others just to help the algorithm and subscribe. Hit the notification button and like them on the other platforms. Spend that extra 5 minutes because this show needs to get traction in the next 3 to 4 to 5 months. We're putting forth a lot of money, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort. And remember, I don't get paid to do this. Any revenue that comes in from any source, it does not go to me. Under court order, I can only live on $3,750 per month. That's what I live on. Any other revenue that comes in pays for the expenses, and then any extra that comes to me goes directly to the court, goes to the U.S. government. Does not go to me at all. So I'm doing this not to personally provide wealth for myself or income. And even if I was, there's nothing wrong with that. This is a free enterprise world, a capitalistic world. Getting material benefit for the time and effort you put in and the value you add to society is absolutely good. And people should be becoming wealthy based on the value they add into society. So that's not bad. I'm just suggesting that in this particular instance, I don't happen to get any. I hope that doesn't last a long time. I do want to get something. You know, there are some groceries I want to buy. So, but actually, any money that I do get, my plan going for the future is philanthropic. I do intend on giving all that money to the partners, back to the partners, and also to Global Information Network members as charity. That's my goal. So any of the enterprises that I have, my intention is any profits that I make, I'll keep a little for myself, but just enough. And then the rest, give back to the partners in the Kevin Trudeau Fan Club and a whole host of various value benefit, and also to members in the Global Information Network. So I'll be giving money to the club, and I'll be giving money to both the fan club and the Global Information Network Club, and they'll be then using that money for the benefits of the members of both of those organizations. So I'm Kevin Trudeau. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Much love to all of you. Remember, God loves you, and so do I. You can do it. Just don't let anyone steal your dreams.